Well, the trouble spot on 75 South at the 24 accident earlier. I believe that's pretty well cleared up, Russell, but from the 75-24 to the Ridge Cut both ways, pretty heavy traffic right now, trying to recover from that. East Brainerd at Delmeda, an accident there. North Orchard Knob right now at Wilcox, an accident. Chimney Hills and Lakeside at Old Hickson Pike, that's an accident. Downtown Chattanooga Bailey at South Willow, an accident. Entries East 39th at 13th Avenue right now as well. Interstate's thick, busy afternoon so far. EPB, the only local television provider with an entire channel dedicated to Chattanooga programming. City Stream on demand, local high school sports, graduation, special events. 648-1372, EPBFI.com. Mike Wood here, the Traffic Center, Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Hot News Talk 1240.
It's 5:08 here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. I'm Russell, and here's the weather. 81 degrees right now in the Chattanooga area, and quite overcast as well. On today, actually, I'm looking at what we're expecting for it to be like today. We're peaking at around 96, but we're well past that, and we're expecting a little bit of rain sometime tonight. In fact, coming up quite soon, our chances of rain start to spike at about 30%, and then later on tonight, about 35%. Tomorrow, there's a pretty high chance of rain. It's peaking at around 92, according to the forecast that we've got in front of us here from the Weather Center. Friday, 88 is the high. Saturday, 92 is the high. And Sunday, 95 is the high. And next Monday and Tuesday are supposed to be rainy as well. And we're expecting temperatures to be quite nice, actually, next week, with only rain expected on Monday and Tuesday, according to these reports. That's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. And this is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Listen live to us on Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn app, which you can download for your smartphone. That's TuneIn for your smartphone. You can listen to us there and hear us live here in the studio at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. Police have reported that the gunman in Nashville that apparently attempted to open fire at a movie theater during a showing of Mad Max has been killed by a SWAT team. According to these reports, that gunman has now been reported dead, and we'll try to give you more updates on that as we can. But apparently, someone went into a Carmike Theater in Nashville with a backpack, a hatchet, and apparently a handgun as well in order to, well, we don't know the motive, but he was engaged by a police officer, and then a SWAT team later took him down, according to these reports. That's your update on that situation from us here at the newsroom here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. We're looking back at the weather now, where it's about 81.3 degrees right now that we've just gotten that new information in, about 81 degrees right now. 97 is the high for today, and we're well past that already. It's actually dipping down quite quickly, and we're expecting it to get down into the lower 70s as time goes by. So keep that in mind if you're going to be going out anywhere. You might want to bring a light jacket, just because we're not really used to the temperatures that we've been seeing here recently. It's a bit cooler than we've been used to. Tomorrow, there's thunderstorms expected. We're about to get about 1.5 inches of rain tomorrow. So if you have any plans for tomorrow, keep that in mind, that we are going to be seeing quite a bit of rain tomorrow, although nothing that we can't handle, of course. And again, we're trying to get more updates now on the situation with the gunman, which was in Nashville. Of course, that active shooter situation is now over, and without many casualties. Apparently, there was some superficial damage done to individuals with pepper spray, and some are positing that perhaps damage was done with a hatchet as well, although we don't have any conclusive reports on that yet. But we'll bring you more updates on that as soon as we can here on Hot News Talk Radio. One person has been detained in connection to the shooting in Camp Shelby as well. One person has now been detained for questioning in connection to the Camp Shelby shooting incident that happened on Wednesday morning. Authorities are back to searching for a suspect in connection to a Camp Shelby shooting, I should say. Authorities responded to a call of shots being fired at the Camp Shelby Joint Forces Training Center on Tuesday afternoon. Police were searching the area when a maroon truck passed them. A shot was heard, and police then went into pursuit. The suspect claims that he had no gun and that his truck actually backfired, which was the cause of the sound. So he's been detained for questioning, although not arrested. according to these reports. And there's a there is a distinction there that must be made. Metro Police have confirmed that the shooter at the Carmike Hickory 8 Cinema in Antioch is dead. The shots fired call came into police at around 1:13 p.m. on Wednesday, and police then responded within about 2 minutes. The Nashville Fire Department confirmed that shots were being fired at the movie theater on Bell Road just before 2 p.m. Metro Police spokesman Don Aaron said that the suspect entered the theater armed with a gun and a hatchet. Nashville Fire Department spokesman Brian Haas later said that the gunman also had pepper spray. The 2 South Precinct officers who were working a nearby crash, responded to the shots fired call. One of the officers entered the theater, which was showing Mad Max Fury Road, and he encountered the gunman there. Police say that the gunman raised his weapon and pulled the trigger. The officer then returned fire and backed away, and it does not appear that the officer was injured during that incident. Aaron said that the gunman had pepper sprayed the theater. Gas masks were being brought to officers because the theater was still thick with pepper spray. Police said that the gunman was wearing a surgical mask, possibly to stop the effects of the pepper spray, although that would not be very effective. A Metro SWAT team had set up at the back door of the theater, and when the gunman came out of the door, officers then engaged him and fatally wounded him. We believe that the imminent threat has ended, Aaron said, and the gunman has been tentatively identified as a 51-year-old local white male. His identity has not yet been confirmed, although that's the only statement that we have so far regarding any sort of identity. So 51-year-old local man, according to the police. Aaron said that the gunman had 2 backpacks on him at the time of the shooting. Police said that they are not comfortable with those backpacks, and they were detonated just before 4 p.m. Haas said that 2 women were injured from exposure to pepper spray, and a man suffered superficial injuries to his shoulder, possibly from the hatchet. Aaron said that the actions of the first 2 responding officers likely saved many lives. Officers at Vanderbilt University Medical Center also confirmed that there were no victims that were going to be transferred to that hospital, so it does not appear that any serious injuries occurred. Witnesses at nearby businesses reported 1 person being covered in blood. Sean Oliver, a witness, saw the SWAT team at the back of the theater, saying, "You see officers going to the back, and that's when you see them all hiding in trees," Oliver said. When they started shooting, you could see dust flying up. The Ford Ice Center and Global Mall, which are located near the theater, were placed on lockdown as well during the active shooter investigation. Ford Ice Center is going to remain closed for the rest of the day. So the active shooter situation in Nashville is now over, and it appears that there is no longer any threat to any person in that area as of now. So the active shooter situation is over, and it appears that it was stopped by a SWAT team on the scene. Hundreds of people are apparently killed each year by failures to stop, which is when you're driving and then you fail to stop when there's something in front of you. So hundreds are apparently killed each year by failures to stop. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. So the NCSR is partnering with organizations and community leaders to inform people of the dangers of red light running, which is when someone runs through a red light. The numbers are staggering, apparently. Each year, hundreds of people are killed and thousands more are injured when a driver runs a red light and fails to stop, and it causes an accident. So apparently this has caused quite a few injuries over the years, which is a failure to stop. And now there's calls for awareness to be raised about failure to stop. The FDA says that it is impossible to completely clean dirty scopes. Federal health officials have laid out extra safety measures that hospitals can take to clean specialized medical scopes that have been linked to sometimes deadly bacterial outbreaks across the United States. However, the Food and Drug Administration officials acknowledged on Tuesday that not all hospitals have the staff, expertise, and resources to take those steps, including sterilizing scopes with toxic gas to kill bacteria. Even with such steps, the risk of infection transmission cannot be completely eliminated, the FDA said in an online statement. Despite the risks of infection, the FDA says that the devices should remain available because they benefit appropriately selected patients. Known as duodenoscopes, the scopes consist of a flexible tube and a specialized tip that surgeons guide into the digestive tract in order to diagnose and treat blockages. The FDA came under heavy criticism earlier this year for apparent lack of oversight when it came to the cleaning of those scopes. So quite a bit of controversy has been raised because of the contaminated scopes, which may have caused many different infections over the years, although it's not been conclusively linked back to dirty scopes. That's been sort of a suspicion over the years that that's been the cause of quite a few different outbreaks and infections that have occurred, although there's not really any conclusive proof of that. Still, cleaning measures are apparently going to be taken and enforced by the FDA. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. And you can save half off now if you go to hotnewstalkradio.com and click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio is saving you money. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. A mother has been arrested now, apparently after her mentally handicapped son reportedly was injured after a firearms blast that occurred inside that house. And apparently it was an accidental shooting that occurred within that home. And we're going to go ahead and look at the weather real quick here, where right now it's 82 degrees here in the Chattanooga area, 82 degrees, and we're expecting it to actually dip down as time goes by. The lowest that I'm seeing is about 73, and that's in the very early morning hours. So about 73 early this morning, but other than that, temperatures are going to be mild throughout the rest of the week and positively hot by Saturday and Sunday, where we're seeing highs of 92 and 95. So keep that in mind if you're going to be planning out your weekend, that it's going to be rainy on Friday and Saturday is going to be 92 and 95. A mother has been arrested now after a charge of aggravated child neglect after a 13-year-old mentally handicapped son reportedly shot himself on Tuesday with a .22 caliber handgun. Shallon Sales, who's 36, remained in jail on a $50,000 bond on Wednesday. The child initially told Chattanooga police that an ice cream man shot him. The officer was suspicious of this story because the call was dispatched as a gunman wearing a black ski mask. The child eventually told the officer that he accidentally shot himself. He told police that he made up the story about the ice cream man because he didn't want anyone to get in trouble. As officers spoke with the child, they realized that the child could not spell his own name, did not know his mother's full name, phone number, or where she was. Sales later showed up at the residence distraught. She gave police consent to search her Hughes Avenue residence, according to an affidavit of complaint. Police then found a total of 3 handguns, including a 9mm handgun and a .22 caliber handgun, which were loaded. One of the guns was stolen. Sales also told police that she was unaware that her boyfriend keeps a .22 caliber Lorson gun under her, inside the residence. Police noticed that it was unloaded. They also found drug paraphernalia, marijuana, and unmarked pills. The items were in plain view, according to the report, and says due to the presence of narcotics, paraphernalia, and loaded weapons in the house, coupled with the child's diminished mental state and lack of supervision, and Ms. Sales' statement about unknown persons coming and going from her home, I believe that there is probable cause to charge the defendant with aggravated child neglect, which led to the child's serious injury, an affidavit of complaint reads. Sales is expected to appear before Hamilton County General Sessions Court Judge Gary Starnes on October the 20th, according to these reports. A pair has been sentenced to serve 30 months in prison for apparently illegally excavating Civil War artifacts from public lands. Kenneth Stephen Fagan, Jr., who's 39 from South Pittsburgh, and Terry Bruce Tate, who's 61 of Manchester, have been sentenced by federal judge Curtis Collier to serve 30 months in federal prison. Fagan was ordered to pay $22,463.59 in restitution to the Tennessee Valley Authority and to the National Park Service to cover the cost of restoration to repair the sites. Tate offered to pay $21,619.59 in restitution to the TVA. Upon their release from prison, Fagan and Tate will each serve a 1-year term of supervised release. Fagan and Tate pleaded guilty in February to multiple counts of violating the Archaeological Resources Protection Act, including violations in the Eastern District of Tennessee, Northern District of Alabama, and Western District of Tennessee. ARPA became law in 1979 as a way to protect against the loss and destruction of archaeological resources found on public and Indian lands that are an irreplaceable part of the nation's heritage, according to the bill. From September 2007 to July 2011, Fagan, Tate, and others reportedly excavated Civil War-era artifacts from the bottom of Fort McCook, also known as Battle Creek, which is located on TVA property. Specifically, Fagan, Tate, and others recorded Civil War Hotchkiss shells, which are pieces of artillery used during the Civil War. Fagan and Tate did not have permits as required under the ARPA, nor did they have authority from the TVA or any other entity to carry out those searches. So apparently they've been arrested and charged now for that, and they're going to be serving a year of supervised release. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world of science. It's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We have a lot of great programming here on Hot News Talk Radio. We have David Tulis' show, which is on from 9 to 11. Mr. Judd's show, which is on from 11 to 9. My show, which is Digital Drive, where we talk about technology and quite a bit more. In fact, we're going to be talking about automated spacefaring drones that NASA's putting together. That's my show from 12 to 1 right here on Hot News Talk Radio. 1 to 3, we have Laura Ingraham, and 3 to 5 is Sean Hannity. And, of course, 5 to 6 is my show again, which is Hot News Live at 5. And, again, 6 to 7 is Cowboy with Text right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. If you have a smartphone, you can listen to us on that as well. If you get the TuneIn app and then search for Hot News Talk Radio, you can listen to this program and all the others we have here on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
If you have the DTs, shit, because your phone is on the fritz, you have nomophobia. You need help. Your telecom doctor is in. Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall. Cell Surgeon yanks open the ribcage of your phone, pries out the dead heart, and puts in the beating life that you lead on your cell phone. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out? Cell Surgeon in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life. Mention Hot News Talk Radio and get 10% off.
Surgery does not have to be financially painful. Hi, I'm Surgical Dr. David Red, and I'd like to invite you to my walk-in surgery clinic in North Shore. Quick Surge brings you immediate relief from moles, skin tags, maybe a laceration. Quick Surge. You walk in, fill out a mini form, I numb the area I'll treat, and before you know it, you're on your way home. Do I take insurance? No, because I take cash customers. I have super low and fixed prices, credit card, check, or cash. Uninsured? Member of the working financially disadvantaged? Choose Quick Surge. I publish prices online. No murk, just sunshine. Hassle-free, pain-free. Love the idea of a personal relationship with a doctor? Drop in with a nasty cut from work. Quick Surge. I'll take care of you. Quick Surge in the Public Center on the North Shore. No insurance hassles with Quick Surge. The national medical system is dysfunctional, overpriced, very alienating. I'm part of the solution, and so are you. Come on home. QuickSurge.com. QUIKSURG. Relief.
Hi, this is your computer speaking. I don't feel so well. It's like I've come down with a bug, and I'm getting slower.
Affordable Computers. We fix sick computers. Your hometown guys at Affordable Computers will repair your PC in half the time of the big boys at an affordable price. No tricks, no gimmicks, no computer speak technobabble. Just good, quick, and courteous affordable service and repairs. Want to affordably supercharge your PC? Affordable Computers on Highway 58. Affordable Computers hand builds all desktops in-house. If you're looking for a better-than-new refurb laptop, $150 will get you a Dell or another name brand at Affordable Computers. Affordable Computers, Highway 58, between Arby's and Taco Bell. Also Fort O, Battlefield Parkway, near Holcomb's. Affordable Computers, we service what we sell. Call 499-1975. That's 499-1975.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm feeling great. Supercharged.
If you have the DTs, the shakes, because your phone is on the fritz, you have nomophobia. You need help. Your telecom doctor is in. Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall. Cell Surgeon yanks open the ribcage of your phone, pries out the dead heart, and puts in the beating life that you lead on your cell phone. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out? Cell Surgeon in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life.
Mention Hot News Talk Radio and get 10% off.
Surgery does not have to be financially painful. Hi, I'm Surgical
You give us
Dr.
12
David
minutes
Red,
and 40
I'd like to
seconds,
invite you-
we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
526 here at Hot News Talk Radio. Here's Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
And I appreciate that, Russell. Good afternoon. Westside Drive at 15th Avenue. We'll start there with an accident. Some injuries on East Brainerd at Alameda. Bailey and South Willow. Accident there. More injuries on East 19th at 13th Avenue this afternoon as well. Mike Wood, the traffic center this afternoon. Of course, Hot News Talk Radio at AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
It's 5:27 here at Hot News Talk Radio. I'm Russell, and here's what's happening. We're looking at the weather now, where it's looking like it's roughly 82 degrees right now in the Chattanooga area. So it's roughly 82.8 degrees right now here in the Chattanooga area, and we're expecting just a little bit of rain tonight. There's a slight chance of that, about 30% chance of that for tonight at around 11 p.m. So keep that in mind as you're going to be planning out your weekend. It looks like tomorrow is where most of the rain is going to be happening this week, though, with we're seeing chances of that peaking at around 92% of rain, or 92% chance of rain, I should say, at around 6:30. So keep that in mind as you're going to be planning out your day tomorrow, that we may be seeing quite a bit of rain, although it shouldn't be so much that it'll ruin our day. We're looking now at the forecast for the rest of the week, where actually it's looking quite nice, with it being 88 degrees on Friday, 92 for the high on Saturday, and 95 for the high on Sunday. And Monday and Tuesday of next week, we're expecting rain, and the rest of the week for next week is looking actually nice. So Wednesday through Friday are looking fine. So keep that in mind as we're going to be planning out our weekends. It looks like this weekend is going to be partly cloudy for Friday and then sunny for Saturday, with pretty hot temperatures. So keep that in mind as you're planning out your weekend. That's the weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. Benjamin Brewer is apparently still at large as of today, despite 13 counts that he faces over the I-75 crash that killed 6 people. Deputies have been checking out his old address, but they believe that he may have moved out. They are contacting his relatives to get him word that he faces outstanding warrants. Local authorities are not sure if he even knows about the charges yet. Meanwhile, WKYT in Lexington has found out more driving infractions are against Brewer. He's been charged with license plate violations 3 times since 1998. Of course, that's a 15-year span. He's also, or more than that now, he also has 3 speeding violations over the past 17 years as well. So quite a few traffic citations for Mr. Brewer. He is also apparently going to be extradited from Kentucky, and we still don't know where he is. He's a 39-year-old truck driver who's been indicted yesterday in the June crash on I-75 that killed 6 people in Chattanooga, and so far he's not been arrested on those charges because, well, they can't find him. Benjamin Scott Brewer is facing 13 counts returned by a Hamilton County grand jury. 6 of those counts are for vehicular homicide. Investigators also say that Brewer had drugs in his system and had been on duty for 50 consecutive hours when he arrived in Chattanooga that night in June. His truck apparently crashed into a line of cars emerging onto one lane on I-75, which then killed 6 people. But at last report, Brewer was not in custody. Authorities say that they have made several trips to his home without success. When he's arrested, Brewer will be extradited from Kentucky. Normally, it's just a formality. And apparently, the attorney in Chattanooga says ultimately he will be brought back unless there's some evidence that he was not the person that committed the crime. And I think that there's pretty sufficient evidence that this truck driver was the person who was driving the trailer rig that was involved in this unfortunate accident, says Jerry Summers from Chattanooga. Brewer's neighbors don't know where he is either. The Hamilton County District Attorney's Office is refusing to comment on the indictments or the extradition process, but truckers aware of the horrific week are voicing their thoughts on highway safety and on training for drivers as well. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration calls Brewer an imminent hazard to public safety and has banned him from driving. Although his CDL has been rescinded, it's possible that he's not the one driving, so it's possible that someone else is driving him somewhere, unaware that he has a warrant out for his arrest. The city council has okayed a vote to build an access road at Hamilton Place. So that's the mall, of course. It's been years in the making, but plans to build an access road directly linking I-75 to Hamilton Place can now begin thanks to a unanimous vote by the Chattanooga City Council that occurred last night. The vote wouldn't have happened if the company who owns the mall didn't make a heavy investment in the construction project. Of course, that's CBL. We have a company that has stepped forward and spent all this time and energy and put their money where the mouth is, and they're going to take care of a huge problem that we've had in this area. It's the city council member Larry Braun. And the Shalford exit corridor on I-75 is notoriously congested, and the desired effect of this project is to loosen that up. So in order to move the project forward, CBL is willing to make the investment, which will help the area, or rather the entire area, in terms of traffic congestion, says Blythe Bailey, who is with the Chattanooga Department of Transportation. The project is reportedly going to cost about $40 million. CBL and Associates, which owns the mall, is paying $8 million towards the project, which is the city's portion. The other $32 million comes from federal funding through the Department of Transportation, and whether that funding is available is still up in the air. The entire project takes months and happens in stages. TDOT has indicated that this priority, because of the agreement with the CBL, they will move the project forward in environmental design, but because of the current status of the federal funding, they did make it very clear that there's no guarantee that this funding will be available when engineering is finished. TDOT says that between 76,000 and 84,000 vehicles will travel through this corridor every day. So quite a bit of traffic that will be going back and forth from the mall and to I-75, and from I-75 to the mall. So keep that in mind, that there is going to be construction within the coming years in the Hamilton Place area that, of course, is going to be taking quite a long time, although TDOT has put it in top priority. Police are reporting that a gunman has been reported dead in Nashville. A suspect carrying a gun and a hatchet at the Carmike Hickory 8 Cinema in Antioch is dead, according to police. Police said that the gunman, tentatively identified as 51-year-old local male, was also carrying 2 bags, and he apparently pepper sprayed an area throughout the theater showing Mad Max Fury Road, according to these reports. And the shots fired call came into police at around 1:15 p.m., and officers responded within minutes. Metro Police spokesman Don Aaron said that 2 South Precinct officers were working a crash nearby on Bell Road and then ran to the movie theater. One of the officers then entered the theater and encountered the gunman. Aaron said that the gunman then raised his gun and pulled the trigger. The officer returned fire and backed away. Police said that the gunman was wearing a surgical mask, possibly to deal with the effects of the pepper spray. Gas masks were brought to officers because the theater was thick with pepper spray. A Metro SWAT team had set up at the back door of the theater, and when the gunman came out of a door, officers engaged and fatally wounded him. Aaron said the gunman was the only person who was shot, and Aaron says that they believe the imminent threat has reportedly ended. He said that they were not comfortable with the contents of the 2 bags that was carried by the gunman, and they would be destroying it. At least one of those bags was detonated just before 4 p.m. Nashville Fire Department spokesman Brian Haas said the 2 women were injured from exposure to pepper spray, and a man suffered superficial injuries to his shoulder, possibly from a hatchet. Aaron said that the actions of the first 2 responding officers likely saved many lives, and he said that 8 people were in the theater at the time. Officials at Vanderbilt University Medical Center have confirmed no victims would be transported to the hospital. Witnesses at a nearby business told Channel 4 that they saw one person who was covered in blood. Sean Oliver, who's a witness, saw the SWAT team as they were heading to the back of the theater as well, and apparently the area was full of police activity. Last month, of course, a shooter also opened fire at a movie theater in Lafayette, Louisiana. The shooter killed 2 and injured 8 before killing himself on July the 23rd. Police said that the 58-year-old gunman was armed with a handgun and acted alone. And of course, this also comes in the wake of the Aurora, Colorado shooting that happened quite a few years ago. Another reported shooting at Camp Shelby has been possibly debunked, as the victim, or rather the suspect, defendant, says that it was actually a car backfiring. Authorities are now back to searching for a suspect in connection to a Camp Shelby shooting. Authorities responded to a call of shots being fired at the Camp Shelby Joint Forces Training Center on Tuesday afternoon. Police were searching the area when a maroon truck passed them. A shot was heard and police went into pursuit. The suspect claims that he has no gun and that his truck backfired. According to the Department of Defense, at approximately 8 o'clock a.m. Wednesday, shots were fired at Camp Shelby. Soldiers who were training at Camp Shelby Joint Forces Training Center reported shots fired into the air in the vicinity of the Perry Tower Road and Highway 29 in Perry County, according to the news release. Although it's not clear if any shots actually were fired, that's what was reported. So we're not sure on the exact circumstances of that, but we'll keep you updated anyway. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. You can download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. And Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You can save half off now if you go to hotnewstalkradio.com and click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio is saving you money. That's AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. And looking at the weather right now, where it's about 82 degrees here in the Chattanooga area, and temperatures are fortunately dipping down, and they are going to continue to do so until the early morning hours tomorrow. There is a chance of thunderstorms, though, in the coming hours, and we are expecting a bit of rain here in the Chattanooga area, although not too terribly much, just a bit. We saw a little bit earlier here at the studio area. Thursday, 82 is the high, 69 is the low with thunderstorms predicted. Friday, 88 is the high, and 68 is the low. And Saturday, 92 is the high, and 69 is the low. Sunday, 95 is the high, 70 is the low. And Monday, 95 is the high, with 71 being the low. And there's a chance of rain next Monday and Tuesday. That's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. The city is now paying $226,000 to rent garbage trucks until new ones arrive. Lee Norris, who's the Public Works Administrator in Chattanooga, said that new trucks are on order, but they have been delayed in arriving. He said that in the meantime, I'm not going to let garbage sit on the ground. The lease from Big Truck Rental was deemed an emergency purchase. Mr. Norris said that the new automated slide loader trucks for pickup of residential garbage will not be ready for 6 months. He said the department requires trucks to replace those that are no longer suitable for use. The rental was not bid, but was negotiated because time was of the essence, according to these reports. And the city council has okayed a vote to build an access road over at Hamilton Place. So keep that in mind, that there's going to be construction quite soon at Hamilton Place, because there's going to be a access ramp that's going to be built from Hamilton Place over to I-75 and back again. The president has warned that without the Iran nuclear deal, there will be another war in the Middle East, just like the one that we had previously in the 1980s. Of course, there was the Iran-Iraq war, which is the longest war of the 20th century. And he says the choice we face is ultimately between diplomacy and some sort of war. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not 3 months from now, but soon. Military action will be far less effective than this deal in preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, the president said. President Obama urged that the deal with Iran is the best way to prevent the country from acquiring a nuclear weapon and to prevent war, and that the big deal, or rather that the deal being rejected by Congress, will be bad for the security of the United States. The president noted that many of the same people who argue for the war in Iraq are now making the case against the Iran nuclear deal. He continued, now when I ran for president 8 years ago as the candidate who opposed the decision to go to war in Iraq, I said that America didn't just have to end that war, we had to end the mindset that got us into the first place, or got us in there in the first place, he says. Those calling for war labeled themselves as strong and decisive while dismissing those who disagreed as weak, even as appeasers of a malevolent adversary. The president said that walking away from the deal is a fantasy due to it being a delicate international agreement between many sovereign states, not just the United States and Iran, and those other partners would not support a stricter deal, according to these reports. And that is worth keeping in mind, is the P5+1, not the P1. There are other countries involved. Dissatisfaction with treatment of African-American population has soared in just 2 years, according to a Gallup poll. More Americans are now dissatisfied with the way that the black U.S. population is being treated, according to the latest poll by Gallup. The satisfaction rate has fallen to 49%, which is compared with 62% just 2 years ago. The Minority Rights and Retaliation Survey united over 2,200 respondents from several ethnic backgrounds, was conducted by phone from June the 15th until July the 10th. The decline in satisfaction with the way the black population is treated has been registered among blacks, 33% compared with 47% in 2013, and whites, 53% compared to 67% in 2013, and Hispanics, 44% compared to 61% in 2013. Only the white population has shown a slim majority of satisfaction despite the sharp drop, and that is continuing to drop according to these trends. And that's your update on that situation from us here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. Hot News Talk Radio is everywhere. You can listen to us live on hotnewstalkradio.com, and you can also listen to us on your smartphone if you download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. So download the TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone, and you can listen to us anywhere in the world, actually, if you get that TuneIn app. In fact, if you have Bluetooth in your car with your car radio, you can actually sync that up and you can listen to us just like you're here in the studio with us live here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240. The FDA says that it's impossible to completely clean medical scopes. Federal health officials have laid out extra safety measures that hospitals can take to clean specialized medical scopes that have been linked to sometimes deadly bacterial outbreaks across the United States. Despite the risks of infection, the FDA says the devices should remain available because they benefit appropriately selected patients. Known as duodendoscopes, the scopes consist of a flexible tube and specialized tip that surgeons use to look at the colon. The FDA came under heavy criticism earlier this year for its oversight of the hard-to-clean devices after 2 Los Angeles hospitals reported patients infected with antibiotic-resistant bacteria, or superbugs, despite manufacturers' cleaning instructions. This is Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240. The temperature right now is 82 degrees. We're expecting it to get down into the lower 70s here. And at tonight, Thursday, 82 with a chance of rain. And we're expecting rain tonight as well. That's a weather update from us here at the Weather Center here at Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
Are you tired of working in corporate America, or have you recently lost your job and would like to consider owning your own business? If you are, please call me, as I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that fit you, the economy that we're in, and the type of businesses that are right in the greater Chattanooga area. After I help my clients find the right opportunity, I also help them find the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup phase. If you would like to learn more about opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My name is Bruce Krebs at the Entrepreneur Source. Phone number is 423-875-5621.
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now. 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation. 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
544 here at Hot News Talk Radio. Here's Mike Wood with Hot News Talk Radio's Fast Traffic Now.
And thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Appleton Pike. We'll start right there at Old Lee Highway with an accident. Got a tree down Ooltewah, Georgetown, and Mountain View Road right now. Westside Drive at 15th, an accident. Injuries East Brainerd at Elmina Avenue this afternoon as well. Russell, get the gig from EPB Fiber Optics. The whole family can run Wi-Fi internet devices at the same time. You don't lose speed or performance. Perfect for streaming videos, gaming, whatever. 648-1372, EPBFI.com. Mike Wood in the traffic center in Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
It's 5:45 here at Hot News Talk Radio. I'm Russell. Here's what's happening. We are looking at the weather now, where it's about 82.6 degrees here in the Chattanooga area. Unfortunately, it's still pretty warm. We're expecting it to get down to about 73 tonight, although that's not entirely it's not entirely set in stone because the humidity is going to make it feel much hotter. So keep that in mind as you're going to be planning out your night tonight. If you're going to be heading home, you might see some rain. We saw some over at the office here at the studios here at Hot News Talk Radio. Just a few hours ago, we saw a little bit of rain. So you may be seeing a smattering of rain in your area of Chattanooga as well. You know how it is with our area. The mountains and valleys, of course, make the weather quite fickle in some of our areas. But we are expecting quite a bit of rain on Thursday as well, all throughout the day, in fact. And into Friday morning, we may be seeing a bit of rain in the very, very early morning hours. So keep that in mind as you're planning out your day tomorrow. There may be some rain. So far as our weekend goes, though, everything's looking pretty nice. Friday and Saturday, 88 and 92, respectively, for the highs. Sunday, 95 and clear. And Monday and Tuesday of next week, we're expecting some thunderstorms with chances in the 50s and 30s mostly. So we're expecting a little bit of rain, but not a whole lot on Monday and Tuesday. So as for next week, we're seeing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday being in the 90s and really pretty nondescript for those days, clear and in the 90s. So keep that in mind as we're planning out our weekend here at Hot News Talk Radio. That Friday and Saturday are going to be quite nice, actually, partly cloudy, and that's about it for our weekend. That's your weather update from us here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. A mother has been arrested after a mentally handicapped son apparently accidentally shot himself. A mother's now facing a charge of aggravated child neglect after her 13-year-old mentally handicapped son shot himself on Tuesday with a .22 caliber handgun. Shallon Sales, who's 36, remained in jail on a $50,000 bond on Wednesday. The child initially told Chattanooga police that an ice cream man shot him. The officer was suspicious of the story because the call was dispatched as the gunman was wearing a black ski mask, and the child eventually told the officer that he accidentally shot himself. He told police that he made up the story about the ice cream man because he didn't want anyone to get in trouble. As officers spoke with the child, they realized that he could not spell his own name, and he did not know his mother's full name, phone number, or where she was. Sales later showed up at the residence distraught. She gave police consent to search her Hughes Avenue residence, according to an affidavit of complaint. Police found a total of 3 handguns, including a 9mm handgun and a .22 caliber gun, which were loaded. One of the guns was stolen. Sales also told police that she was unaware that her boyfriend keeps a .22 caliber gun inside her residence as well. Police noticed that it was unloaded. They also reportedly found drug paraphernalia, marijuana, and unmarked pills. The items were in plain view, according to the report. Due to the presence of narcotics, according to the affidavit, and paraphernalia and loaded weapons in the house, coupled with the child's diminished mental state and lack of supervision, and Ms. Sales' statement about unknown persons coming in from her home, I believe that there is probable cause to charge the defendant with aggravated child neglect, which led to the child's serious injury, an affidavit of complaint reads. Sales is expected to appear before Hamilton County's General Sessions Court Judge Gary Starnes on August the 20th. It's 5:49 here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. It's AM 1240. Hot News Talk Radio. You'll also get news updates. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll get local news updates from us here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. Benjamin Brewer is still at large on Wednesday today, despite 13 counts he faces over an I-75 crash that killed 6 people. Deputies have been checking his old address, but they believe that he may have moved out. So they're contacting his relatives in order to get him to get him word that he faces outstanding warrants, because you have to be notified that you're facing a warrant. Local authorities are not sure if he even knows about the charges yet. Meanwhile, WKYT over in Lexington has found more driving infractions against him. He was charged with license plate violations 3 times since 1998. He also has 3 speeding violations over the past 17 years as well, and since 1998. He is reportedly going to be extradited from Kentucky if he is located and if he's in Kentucky. So authorities in London, Kentucky are wanting to know where he is. The 39-year-old truck driver was indicted, of course, yesterday in the June crash on I-75 that killed 6 people in Chattanooga. So far, he has not been arrested on those charges. Benjamin Scott Brewer is now facing 13 counts that were returned by a Hamilton County grand jury. 6 of those charges are for vehicular homicide, and investigators also say that Brewer had drugs in his system and had been on duty for 50 consecutive hours when he arrived in Chattanooga that night in June. His truck crashed into a line of cars, merging into one lane on I-75 which killed 6 people. Authorities say that they've made several trips to his home without success. When he is arrested, Brewer will then be extradited from Kentucky, although normally this is only a formality. Brewer's neighbors also say that they have not found him. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration calls Brewer an imminent hazard to public safety and has banned him from driving. His commercial driver's license has been rescinded as well, so he has no legal means of driving on the road, according to the police. So his CDL is no longer valid, according to them. This is not at 5:51 right now here at Hot News Talk Radio, and we're looking at the news where the city council has okayed a vote to build an access road at Hamilton Place. It's been years in the making, but plans to build an access road directly linking I-75 to Hamilton Place can begin now, thanks to a unanimous vote by the Chattanooga City Council that occurred on Tuesday night. The vote wouldn't have happened if the company who owns the mall didn't make a heavy investment into the construction project, saying, "We have a company that has stepped forward, spent all this time and energy, and put their money where their mouth is, and are going to take care of a huge problem that we've had in that area," said City Council member Larry Groen. The Shallowford exit corridor on 75 is notoriously congested, and the desired effect of this project is to loosen that up. In order to move the project forward, CBL, which is, of course, the company that owns the Hamilton Place Mall, is willing to make the investment, which will help the entire area in terms of traffic congestion, said Blythe Bailey, who is with the Chattanooga Department of Transportation, or DOT. The project will cost $40 million. CBL and Associates, who owns the mall, is paying $8 million towards the project, which is the city's portion. CBL, of course, is a real estate and property management company. The other $32 million comes from federal funding, through which the Department of Transportation is providing that. And whether that funding is available is still up in the air presently. The entire project planning takes 3 months and happens in stages. TDOT has indicated that with this priority, because of the agreement with CBL, they will move the project forward in the environmental design, but because of the current status of federal funding, they make it very clear that there's no guarantee that this funding will be available when engineering is finished. TDOT says that between 76,000 and 84,000 vehicles travel through the corridor every day, so a direct access to Hamilton Place from I-75, of course, be extremely useful and could potentially bring more traffic to the mall as well, which would make it easier to get to, which would be an attraction in and of itself. The city of Chattanooga is reportedly paying $226,000 to rent garbage trucks until new ones arrive. The city is paying about that much, and Lee Norris, who's a public works administrator, says that new trucks are on order, but they've been delayed in arriving. He said that in the meantime, "I'm not going to let garbage sit on the ground." The lease from Big Truck Rental was deemed an emergency purchase. Mr. Norris said that the new automated side loader trucks for pickup of residential garbage will not be ready for 6 months. He said the department requires trucks to replace those that are no longer suitable for use. The rental was not bid, but was negotiated because the time was of the essence. So apparently $226 is the rental cost for those trucks. And dissatisfaction with treatment of blacks in America has gone up, actually. Rather, satisfaction has gone down and dissatisfaction has gone up, according to a Gallup poll. More Americans are now dissatisfied with the way the black United States population is being treated, according to the latest poll by Gallup. The satisfaction rate has fallen to 49% compared with 62% just 2 years ago. The Minority Rights and Retaliation Survey united over 2,200 respondents from several ethnic backgrounds and was conducted by phone on June the 15th till July the 10th. And apparently they have a quote saying, "Americans are also now more likely to perceive that blacks are being treated unfairly in various situations, including dealing with the police, but also at work, when shopping, and when visiting restaurants and other establishments," the survey organization said. So an interesting statistic from that Gallup poll. And there's a gunman who's been reported dead at the Nashville Theater, which is a Carmike Theater, actually. A suspect who was carrying a gun and a hatchet at the Carmike Hickory 18 Cinema in Antioch is now dead, police have confirmed. Police said that the gunman, tentatively identified as a 51-year-old local white male, was also carrying 2 bags, and he reportedly pepper sprayed throughout the theater, which was showing Mad Max Fury Road. The shots fired call came into police at around 1:15 p.m., and officers responded within minutes. The Metro Police spokesman, Don Aaron, said that 2 South Precinct officers were working a crash nearby on Bell Road and ran to the movie theater. One of the officers then entered the theater and encountered the gunman. Aaron said that the gunman raised his gun and pulled the trigger. and the officer then returned fire and backed away. Police said the gunman was wearing a surgical mask, which is possibly to deal with the effects of the pepper spray, although that would be ineffective. A Metro SWAT team had to be set up at the back door of the theater when the gunman came out of the door. Officers then engaged him and fatally wounded him. Aaron said that the gunman was the only person who was shot, and they believe that the imminent threat has ended. He also said that they were not comfortable with the contents of 2 bags that were carried by the gunman and that they would be destroyed, and at least one of those bags was detonated just before 4 p.m. A Nashville Fire Department spokesman, Brian Haas, said that 2 women were injured from exposure to pepper spray, and a man suffered a superficial injury to his shoulder, possibly from the hatchet. One of the victims, who was only identified as Stephen, briefly spoke to reporters, and he thanked the Metro Police for their quick response and also thanked citizens who helped him and his daughter when they were pepper sprayed. The mayor has also come out with a statement, that's the mayor of Antioch, saying, "I applaud the Metro Police Department for its great work to apprehend the suspect, to keep our citizens and visitors safe and prevent a tragedy in Antioch today. We have one of the best police forces in the nation, and it showed this afternoon in the way our officers lived up to their very thorough training. I recognize that this situation must have been traumatizing for everyone in the theater and many who were nearby, and I'm sorry that some were injured and needed treatment. I'm relieved that no one else was killed, and again, I thank the police for that," says the mayor of that area. Officials at Vanderbilt University Medical Center confirmed no victims would be transported to the hospital either, so it appears that the injuries were minor and were not needing medical treatment, according to these reports. One person has been detained in an apparent shots fired scenario, which happened at Camp Shelby. Soldiers were training at Camp Shelby Joint Forces Training Center, and they reported shots fired into the air in the vicinity of the Perrette Tower Road and Highway 29 in Perry County, according to the news release. This is the same area where soldiers reported gunfire from a motorist at approximately 11:45 a.m. on Tuesday. The shooter is described as a white male in a red pickup truck. The make and model are unknown. This is the same description of the man described to authorities during yesterday's incident. And these are 2 separate incidents, by the way. The Shelby Joint Forces Training Center is currently at a heightened state of alert. No service members have been hurt or injured in today's incident, and the post is secure and all personnel are accounted for. Camp Shelby is currently participating in a coordinated effort with the Perry County authorities to locate the suspect and who is responsible for today's incident. This is the second incident this summer that someone opened fire on military personnel from a vehicle. So it appears that they have detained someone in connection to that shooting, although his identity has not been released. And we previously had a report that he was claiming that the shooting was actually a car backfiring, although we're not sure if that is actually the case. That's simply a statement that we had come out. So we'll keep an eye on that situation here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. And this is, of course, AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, where we are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. You can download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. It's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. The time is 5:58 p.m. right now at the Hot News Talk Radio studios, and we're looking at the temperature, which is 81.9 degrees. And it's supposed to get down actually into the 70s tonight, with the lowest temperature I'm seeing at 72 late tonight. And we are expecting some rain as well. It's pretty cloudy in our area here at the Hot News Talk Radio studios here in North Chattanooga. And it looks like actually there's about a 58% chance of rain at the highest tonight at around 11 p.m. So we are currently at the very beginning stages of chances of rain for today. Tomorrow, though, there's a high of a 92% chance of rain on Thursday tomorrow. So thunderstorms are possible all throughout the day tomorrow. Friday, 88 is the high and 68 is the low. Saturday, 92 is the high, 69 is the low. Sunday, 95 is the high and 70 is the low. And the only rain we're expecting is on Wednesday and Thursday this week. However, next week, Monday and Tuesday, there's a chance of thunderstorms, and the rest of that week appears to be clear. That's your weather update from us here at the Weather Center here at Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
CBS News. I'm Harley Carnes.
I'm eternally grateful, excuse me,